Call down the reckoning, bring back hope and peace, restore our gloria to live forever. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace, restore our gloria to live forever. Bring down the dark regime, I know how to unleash eternal power.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this absolutely legendary night of the Risen Draft League. My name is Big Steve, and I'll be your play-by-play commentator for tonight's, I wanted to say game. I think circus may be a little bit more on point, as we are in for quite an entertaining evening, if Cole is to be believed. But I'm joined here by none other than Quack. How are we doing, Quacks?
Good. And I mean, I think circus would be putting it a little bit mildly. For those of you who don't know, this is a tiebreaker between the top teams of group number B in the draft league. Both of these teams have gone 5-0, and so that they are at the top of the table. A lot of teams probably respect them, but we as casters find it a little bit hard to respect them on that same level when they are apparently role swapping every single one of the players in some way. So as we hop into the draft here, usually this is the time where colorcasters love to make predictions, who's going to ban what secret pocket pick is someone going to pull out. It's completely random this time around.
It's fun when absolutely everything they could play is a pocket pick. We don't know what it is. They don't know what it is. A lot of the teams in this league may have respect for them, but they do not have respect for themselves here tonight. Technically, the winner of this match will come out of the 5-week group stage with sole possession of first place with Group B. However, first and second seed, there isn't really a difference. They both make it through to the playoffs. They skip the play-in. They could decide who they get to play against based off whether the 1 or 2, but we don't know any of the other playoff seeds right now. So is it an advantage? Who knows? Yep, everyone's off roll here. I don't know what they're banning. I don't know why they're banning it. There's probably a reason, but for some reason, Senna, Brand, and Vigar are off the screen already, which just confuses me.
Think that in games like this, I was more so looking out for if the band spelled anything. I've played enough in-house games with my friends all around the board to see if maybe it spells like a secret 5-letter word. But SBA, I don't think makes a single word in the English language. And VN is certainly narrowing it down. So I don't think there's any spelling shenanigans going on with either of these teams as far as bans are going. But yeah, mostly just going to be sticking with some bottom lane bans and jungle bans. You can see the Senna, the Brand, the Ashe taken away, along with Morgana, Nico, and Vigar.
I think that's very presumptive of you, Quacks, for assuming that those are bot lane bans, given
that is true.
Going into, out of all things, Karma, who basically played in any role at this point, is going to be the first thing locked in for EOD. By the way, this is Eaters of Dirt. I know we have many EOD teams here in the Draft League, but this is E lower D, big D, as far as that team name goes. So once again, the 5-0 team, Karma is the pick here. And like I said, we kind of seen it everywhere, except the jungle. Speaking of jungle, Lee Sin. Somebody's got a bit of an ego. Who? Don't know, but somebody does. And they've already locked in Lee Sin.
Yep, so I would expect that this probably gets slammed on with a bot lane pick or a flex. I think maybe we could see something like a Seraphine be pulled out here, or, a strong bot lane pick like the Varus, obviously, is still prevalent in the meta. Terminus still an incredible item on him, so not super surprised to see him here. He's also relatively easy to pilot for all you autofill people out there, in which case, again, everyone in this game is. So yeah, Varus, easy champion to pilot, but I'm really wondering about that Lee Sin, especially if you don't know how to play Lee Sin, or if this is somehow going to be like a Lee Sin top lane. This is not a beginner-friendly champion, so really interested to see how this sort of molds into DTF's comp.
Yeah, and just for clarity, this is Marg, usually the top laner for DTF. They'll be in the jungle. They are the highest elo player in this match as Diamond 2, so maybe as the resident high elo player, they got to go with the highest elo. Jungle pick in Lee Sin. Varus, great pick, as you mentioned. A lot of flexibility. Only thing you really lack is a way to disengage. Everything else, you basically got it covered. Seraphine, Karma, Anivia. Very AP heavy. Start the draft from EOD. Curious if that's going to kick off any sort of tank. We've got Galio passive as an item nowadays. A lot of ways to negate some magic damage in the game.
For sure. And I mean, you mentioned a lot of AP coming out for the side of Eaters of Dirt, and I definitely agree with you. Not only that, but they have a lot of pick potential as well. Karma, Seraphine, Anivia, even. These are champions that are really, really good at picking off stragglers in the jungle or whenever they move around for these rotations toward that mid to late game. So yeah, I am definitely looking at them to really index into a solid frontliner here. Cassante comes to mind. I think Cassante could be really good here, especially when you want to remove a champion like Varus, who can't really get away, doesn't have any innate mobility built into his kit. I think K'Sante could be a good answer. But as we move on to the second phase of bans, Rumble going to be the last pick here for the phase 1 for DTF. It's looking relatively the same for both teams, and it looks like DTF just going to take away some of those junglers. Briar taken off the table.
Yeah, I feel like this is almost cheating coming out from DTF. So this is Grant, their who is playing top lane this game, is typically their jungler. So just taking the Rumble jungle and transplanting it into the top lane feels a little against the spirit here of the everyone's off roll, but it might work out for them, especially with something like the Varus lockdown. It's very effective with that engage. I think I'd still be looking for some sort of engage, maybe a little bit on the tankier side to help out. If Varus whiffs the ultimate, have something else you can play the Rumble off of, but we'll have to see. But no, as you mentioned, junglers flying left and right, especially things that are a bit more AD focused. I mean, Ivern's not exactly the greatest AD carry in the game, but Briar off the board. They need some way to really round out this composition and be the follow-up to that pick you mentioned earlier.
I think if you want some engage in the top lane, you could go, or just in any lane, you could go for something a little bit more unorthodox. I mean, you see Lee Sin, Varus, Rumble, Soraka here. You have to assume that the last lane is going to be in that mid lane. So yeah, some engage mid laner. I think that K'Sante can still be flexed into the mid lane. I still think that that is a possibility. K'Sante is good at going in, especially with that all out and that unstoppable. Really turns him into the showmaker copy pasta that we all love and know. But EOD on the other side, going to lock into that Twitch. So a lot of poke coming out from this team, but not a ton of frontline. I really worry for the sort of frontliners for this team. And they're actually going to round it out with a Bel'Veth, so no real tank here on EOD's comp. And it's looking like maybe that's a Karma top lane.
Yeah, could be. Very interesting to see where everything pans out. Anivia in the mid lane is probably Anivia mid lane, Twitch ADC, and Bel'Veth jungle are probably the three things we're at least mostly confident on, as we will be having our load in timer to figure out what exactly is going on here. But I very much agree. This is a control team fight team with a Bel'Veth kind of just stapled onto it. Anivia, Seraphine, Karma thrive off of just keeping the opposition just in its general area in front of them. Seraphine Karma can build you that gap, and then Anivia literally has the wall, plus wants to be that control mage in the back of a fight, watching everything in front of them. But there's not really that frontline tank to help you really decide when it's time to push forward or catch the engage coming back the other way. Though I will say there is not a single piece of point-and-click CC in this game. Varus ultimate.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Varus ultimate obviously is probably the most reliable piece of engage in this game, but of course you can miss it still. Lee Sin, you have to get on top of them to do it. Seraphine is a skill shot. Anivia is a skill shot. Bel'Veth, you need to be on top of them. Nobody has a press this button to start a fight kind of champion, and at this level of play, those almost are mandatory. So, we could be in for a fun one here tonight.
For sure, but I honestly question if this game is even going to go to that sort of team fight stage. I mean, EOD, it seems like their entire comp is really built around winning the game so hard before that 14-minute mark that it's really hard for DTF to ever really group up. I mean, you have some insanely heavy pushing lanes here, right? You have Karma, Seraphine, and Anivia. These champions love to clear waves, generate priority early on, get early shove. And so I'm looking at Bel'Veth to really get Grub and Herald control around this early game with that priority that we're assuming she'll have. And it's going to be up to DTF to try to counter that, right? I mean, Lee Sin loves to go around the map, loves to gank, loves to get on the map early. And so I think that there are windows for this pick to really be useful and sort of swing this early game in their favor so that they don't necessarily have to team fight as well. But I think team fighting is not really in either comp's repertoire. I think it really is. I mean, these look like solo queue comps, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from 5 auto-filled players, 10 auto-filled players. But we'll just have to wait and see, honestly.
So I have some updates. Quacks, I don't believe you are in the spectator client, but I am. And I can actually update you. I believe we have where each champion's going, and it's not what you'd expect. So on the blue side, currently I am seeing, in order, top to bot, Karma, Bel'Veth, Twitch mid lane, Anivia, Seraphine bot lane. Then flip that around. We have Fiora top, Lee Sin jungle, Soraka mid lane.
What?
Varus 80 carry, and Rumble support.
Rumble support?
Okay, either somebody is lying here. Yeah, I mean,
they just maybe hate casters. I mean, maybe that's the thing. Maybe they have a thing against us.
You know what? I hate us too. I don't hate us. I hate... I don't know where to go. There was a joke there. I've lost it. Just like we have lost control of what's going on in this draft. But back to a positive note, if we can find one. Yeah, I definitely agree with your point there that they are looking for a lot of very early priority. You mentioned that every single wave that they look at should basically be dead by the time it reaches them.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I guess the head scratcher for me is how do they end the game with those advantages? They don't have a great siege. They don't have a way to tower dive. Once you start winning the game, how do you end it? Now that
Yeah.
being said, there's not like a super giga scaler on the red side that, oh, it's Smolder. If the game's not over by 35 minutes, we lose kind of champion.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I think this is going to be you are not watching League of Legends. You're watching baseball. You're going to be seeing the ball thrown back and forth, and eventually one team's going to throw harder and the other's going to win. So that's
More like
my
tennis. It's just like back and forth, back
right.
and forth.
Yeah, no, that's a way better analogy. That's why they're the color here, and I'm just the play-by-play. But yeah, so that'll be interesting. I guess now we can try to attempt to break down what these what these matchups look like. I'll be honest, I don't know how Twitch and Nivea goes in the Twitch Soraka goes in the mid lane. I haven't seen that one before.
I mean, Twitch is something that has been flexed a little bit. I mean, especially if you watch, you're rat IRL, you boost the night core a little bit. I mean, it's factually proven that if you do that, he will do at least 10% more damage.
Right.
But yeah,
speaking.
Twitch mid definitely has some strengths for the most part, especially when you get that first item. You are able to clear the waves really quickly with your poison, assuming that this is AP Twitch. And you are able to roam to other lanes, something that I think is going to be really important, having this Twitch sort of go with the Bel'Veth to these objectives, generating that prio, like we talked about earlier, for this Bel'Veth to take those grubs, those heralds, eventually those dragons. Though I am going to be honest with you, neither of these teams should really be looking at the dragons. The dragons are going to accelerate the game and accelerate the pace of the game into that late game, into those souls and those soul points. Neither of those teams really want that. They want to stay in this early to mid game of heavy skirmishing and heavy fighting, and don't really want these games to break out into team fighting. So I really think that Dragon is not the thing that either of these comps should be looking at. They should be heavily indexing toward that top side, these solo lanes, making sure those grubs and heralds are as secure and snug as possible.
Right. You see, everything you just said makes logical sense, but the counterpoint I have for you is Big Dragon, we want to click it. Like that
is true.
If you could ever capture the mindset of a Risen Esports, if of the really peak physical human specimen that is the Risen Esports Draft League player, it is I see Dragon, I click on Dragon. Whether it's Infernal Drake, whether it's Smolder, you click it. So I'll be very interested to see how that goes. I'm curious as to whether or not that will actually be the AP or AD Twitch, purely because when you look at the rest of the damage profile, if that is AP Twitch, you have AP Twitch, Karma, Seraphine, and Nivea. Now that being said, who's the tank that's going to itemize against you for MR, which I think is a very valid point, but it'll be interesting to see. It's almost like kind of an old school kind of Nico where, yeah, you can fight for lane quite a bit, but a majority of your power is going to come from not what you do in lane, but what you do away from it. And I'm curious to whether or not Soraka is going to have enough push to punish you, per se. I don't know if her Q really is going to be the wave clear tool that she needs there. Might be. It's been a while since I've seen that. And ladies and gentlemen, we are now loading into game. We'll have a quick break real quick before we head into game, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with whatever the heck is going on right here on the Risen Draft League. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Risen Draft League. It is tiebreaker week, and the battle for the sole control of Group B continues. I'm Big Stevie, that is Quacks, and this is a fiesta in the making. As already, we're seeing a level 1 skirmish here. Margarine can't believe it's not Butter, can believe they're not alive. First blood, it goes on over to the blue side, and that will be Eaters of Dirt staking their claim to this early game. Quacks, analysis.
I mean, already, I wasn't expecting anything different in a game like this, right? All the players are auto-filled. This is an incredibly fun game for both of the teams, as you said. They are both locked in to avoid the sort of qualifiers to get into the bracket stage when the playoffs inevitably start. So both of these teams basically just going to be having fun. I think that, you know, if they're having fun, we're having fun. We're going to try and have as much fun with this game and this series as possible, even with how ridiculous it is.
Oh, and ridiculous is the name of the game here. Interesting Invasion's going to be coming out from EOD. They're still hanging around this top side, which is exactly where Margarine, the D2, formerly... let's see where we have Margarine. Formerly the top lane of her DTF, now reprising the role into the jungle. Look like that's actually going to be going unseen. Margarine not entirely sure where. Oh, yeah. Gonna be pretty sure now.
Yeah, he's level 2, so Vandong has a advantage. Let's see if he can win the smite fight.
Yeah, looking for it. Margarine has the smite in. No, not in time. Vandong walks away with both camps out of Margarine's topside jungle. Might be looking for the kill as well, and gets it. Red buff ticking, and Veleth keeps on kicking. Margarine now 0-2 to start this game. That's not exactly... Now, I may have been out of the game for a few years. I don't think that's the meta for how to start in the jungle.
Absolutely not. I mean, you can be out of the game for decades and not know a single thing about it anymore, but starting 0-2 is definitely not how you want to approach this game as we ding to around the 230 mark. You definitely don't want to be invaded by a Bel'Veth.
Oh, here comes Will Gamer, who's already looking for his first room of the game. Forces the flash into Marco. Flashes to follow. Ignite ticking. Poison going. And the stun lockdown on Paradisus. He's going to have to flash on out at the end of the day. But already, Eaters of Dirt are making their opposition do exactly that and putting them 6 feet under. 3 kills at 3 minutes. Now, here's the real question. Are we going to maintain the 1 kill a minute trend here? That's the only question on my mind right now.
I certainly hope so, for the fact that I think it would be way more fun to watch, but a part of me doesn't hope that as well, because then you as the play-by-play caster will get all of the good stuff.
On to the top lane. Bishop Mage just one auto attack away from taking down Fiora in that top lane. And not only... Wait. I just realized something. Not only is this a Karma versus Fiora top matchup, this is a TP Karma versus Ignite Fiora top lane matchup.
This is certainly not the situation you want to be in at all as a Fiora without teleport, because now Bishop Mage on this Karma is just going to be able to really set up a slow push on you, or maybe even a freeze. He's going to be able to micromanage this wave really to his leisure, and there's nothing you can do about it for the next few seconds while you're walking back to lane. So this Karma pick going to get so much experience, going to get such a lead over this Fiora, as a little bit of a good trade coming out from Coleslaw and Bespin is going to happen in this bot lane, putting this roll to about half HP. But you can see Margarine is on this bot side. They could maybe look for a dive, but I don't think it's possible. You have an Nivea passive.
Yeah, about to say, that would be a very aggressive dive attempt. There's no piece of CC anywhere between these 3 champions. You do have 2 Comets, which is really cool, but as you mentioned, a Nivea passive. Quite hard to dive through, so yeah, I believe Margarine's gonna have to go ahead and take the back on that one. And then, as you mentioned, look here in top lane, Bishop Mage now up 10 CS over Grant, and with the TP, isn't any worse for wear in this lane.
Absolutely. Even if Grant manages to get a good chunk, which is hard because this Karma's under her tower, then Karma could simply TP back to lane, or not. Karma is one of the most self-sustaining champions in the game, has a shield, has a self-heal. There's so much sustain in this champion's kit.
Grant into the top lane with Dan as well. W riposta is down. Grant does not have the flash to get away. Could look for the trade kill onto Bishop Mage. No, it's just absolutely making for the high hills. Kind of surprised that When Grant realized they were in just a whole heap of trouble, they didn't turn onto Bishop Mage, maybe try to get the response kill, but, well, that situation goes from bad to worse in the top lane. And that will also give Bel'Veth straight access to the first few grubs of the game.
These three grubs aren't the biggest deal for Bel'Veth. Obviously, it's nice to get that Touch of the Void buff for your team, but what really separates Bel'Veth's ability to take these grubs from other champions is obviously getting that true form, right? And Bel'Veth only at level 5, so hasn't yet dinged that level 6, won't get that ultimate yet, so can't unlock that true form. That'll be on the respawned grubs. And so I'm really looking at this bot lane of Eaters of Dirt to maybe move up toward this top lane if they need to, try and support this Bel'Veth to take those, get that 3-minute true form, and just snowball this behemoth even more. 1-0 and 2, just now recalling at 6 minutes.
Yeah, and look at the gold differential, about 800 in favor for the blue side jungler of Eaters of Dirt against Feng Dong, having an absolute game and a half on this jungle Bel'Veth. Here's the bigger thing that surprised me with that Herald take, though. After the top lane play, I think it was pretty clear exactly what the Eaters of Dirt were doing on the top side. And despite having the push in bot lane, Margarine never actually went down to take Dragon, so that ended up being a something-for-nothing trade. Eaters of Dirt pick up the grubs. Again, it's not a game-breaking thing now, but typically you want to see that handshake, but no handshake was had thus far in the game.
I think Margarine is just really playing this game cautiously, right? You're 0-2 and 0. You don't want to be put behind any more than you are. And frankly, he's only level 4, only has a couple of longswords, so maybe he's thinking that the time investment to take this dragon isn't worth the experience and what you're getting.
Gamers here in bot lane with the ultimate. Margarine's going to engage, but Will Gamers finds its way behind the enemy team. That is prime Twitch real estate. Paradisus goes down, flash forward from Marco. It's not going to be enough. And the rat just unleashes on the bottom lane. And that's not enough. Well, just not enough to get Margarine as well, but certainly enough to absolutely catapult Eaters of Dirt into a solid early game here. Just keep running up the scoreboard. It is 4K lead for them at the moment. And now even Kidmaster's getting on the action. Thendong may have been off more than they can chew, trying to 2v1 into Thendong, and Kidmaster not going to be enough. And finally, the first response goes back the other way. Bishop Mage is burning down with Ignite, very confident to walk back forward. Grant takes another tower shot, auto attack, trade not going to be too much, but almost seeing Grant with a slimmer of hope in the absolute oppression that is the Karma lane, but all about to see the oppression that is TP advantage in top lane as well.
For sure, and now Karma has TP, so will eventually be able to use that and just push this top lane in. Grant doesn't have that teleport available, so will miss out on a lot of experience as we see Will Gamer going a little bit aggressive on the Twitch. 3-0 and 1 on this pick, and we talked about it in the draft, just how good this roamability of that pick is as Bishop Mage, maybe looking for the Fiora, but Margarine is here. This could be difficult.
The Sharks are circling. That is a Shark without ultimate, though, so I'm going to be straight with you. I don't know if Margarine wins that 2v1.
Yeah, that's a Shark without teeth, 100%.
Yeah, it's like one of those Sharknado Sharks. They're dangerous if you, like, run directly into them, but when they're kind of there, they don't have much control over themselves. Thendong, however, has definitely got the teeth. Looking for the knockup. Two-man knockup. Margarine could be going down. Thendong actually taking quite well. Exhaust goes down so late. 1-for-1 trade, which I gotta say probably actually does benefit the side of Defend the Faith quite heavily, but a little bit sloppy there in the mid lane, but still an absolute monster of a Twitch is brewing here.
Yeah, good on getting to keep his jungler alive there. I think that extra little sustain from Soraka managed to turn it into a 1v1, because straight up, if the damages were the only thing that mattered in that 2v2 exchange, then it would have 100% gone the way of Eaters of Dirt, as Grant trying to go aggressive on this Karma, but every time seems to be getting the short end of the stick on these trades.
Yeah, great dodge from Bishop Mage to miss out on the riposte. There's the Rock ultimate. Fights on both sides of the map. Here's Marco and company going in on the bot side. Top side also be going down. Margarine gets the kill. Traded 1-for-1. Bishop Mage dived under. Now, and that's going to be Grant finally picking up the kill. Will Gamer also going to be biting the dust here in the bottom lane. And just an absolute festivity of fights going on. Grant finally finds the window to punish Bishop Mage's overaggression on the top side. And now that gold's being spread out a little bit on the side of DTF. I mean, those are big shutdowns you've just collected here in the last few minutes.
Yeah, DTF with a little bit of bite back here in this game. They finally managed to get a couple of kills under their belt.
Ooh,
But now the Dragon, yeah,
that is a wildly aggressive Dragon. I think they're going to be taken down for the trying to just take that last tick of the Dragon. Not going to be enough. Margarine able to get these smites secure in, and I think our tennis analogy is coming very well to fruition. First serve came out from Eaters of Derf, but Defend the Faith coming back with a strong backhand. And sure, they're still about 2K down, but they've already cut their 4K deficit in half. And we are also, very much to our pleasure, far surpassing the 1 kill a minute metric at this point. So, oh lordy, we're in for a best of 3 tonight.
Absolutely, and a best of 3, it's certainly delivering here in Game 1, and I wouldn't expect the fighting to stop anytime soon. The Grubs are the next on the menu for both of these teams. You can see the Belveth just rushing toward that objective immediately. And it looks like Marjoram wants to contest, but he doesn't have any teammates to back him up in this fight.
No, stun on a Paradisus. Gonna be able to get out safely. Was looking to engage the other way, but now
he got it.
Margarine picks up the Void Grub, so will deny the 6 Grubs, 5 still on the table. But now realizing that they have the power to continue this fight, Kinmaster joining on the backside a little late, but will find Will Gamer. And the back and forth, Paradisus is just stuck in the endless winter. So Rock ultimate comes down, bail out Theta Kira in the bottom side, but now Will Gamer into the back line. Kidmaster has to exhaust, but it's not enough. Grant here trying to pick up the kill as well onto the Rat. The Rat goes down. Anivia passive is popped here in the bottom lane. Bessin's trying to find something in the bottom lane. 2 kills going back the way of the blue side of Eaters of Dirt. Is just absolute still insanity is happening. No rhyme or reason. Now Margarine's in a 2v1 fight outside of the Void Grub pit. W's over the wall, finds the Q onto Thandong. Don't think they're going to have enough damage for it, but could they find their way out? Not a lot of cohesion from this blue side, whether they want to go in or whether they want to go out. Grant now trying to come up the backside, supporting their jungler, Margarine. And there was a Void Grub, there was like 2 kills in top side, there was a 2 for 0 in the bot lane. Things are happening. There's no real advantage for everyone, as we're only 2.7k away, but whew.
Yeah, take a bit of a break there. You've been talking for the past like minutes, really working those vocal cords, but now Grubs still relatively on a take, and one of those Grubs was secured by Margarine at the start of that top lane skirmish. But that is only 1 Grub. Thandong still really wants to pick up that true form, especially because in the past few minutes, this Belveth has been struggling a little bit. 1-3-3, which is really surprising to see given how much of an advantage this pick got in the early game, how much early move this Belveth managed to acquire in those first few minutes of the game. And I mean, he has the ability to go toward this top side, but he's just going to be clearing his bot lane camps. These Grubs should be being taken, but just completely left untouched.
Ooh, Will Gamer going to be able to pick up the kill on Kidmaster. Very smart. They're waiting for the cannon minion. Kill on the bot lane too. Coleslaw able to pick up the kill that way. Bishop Mage lands the root with an auto attack. One more, we get him the kill. Auto goes up. Grant goes down. Bishop Mage picks up a kill in the top side. I believe it's actually his first lane. But as much as fun as that last sequence was, I do want to call back to what you mentioned before. Thandong, great opening, very poor mid-game thus far. And I also want to bring it back to something you mentioned before, that Margarine seems to be playing this early game very cautiously. I feel like it's almost the opposite way for Thandong. They got that early advantage, and they've kind of just been throwing caution to the wind with some of these neutrals, and it really has hurt them in the long run. Margarine now going into the bot lane. As I attempt to complete both parts of the conversation myself, Marco lays down the Rebel ultimate, but it won't be very effective as both members are just able to walk straight out of it. Sonic Wave goes awry. EQ not quite going to be enough, as Best is able to walk out of that one. Stuff happens. Stuff continues to happen.
I want to kind of go back to the thing that you said right before that little exchange.
The thing that I said about what you said about what I said that you said?
Yeah, exactly.
By all means.
And that is what I will be saying. I feel like we have almost had opposite results with these styles of play, right? Thandong has been going really aggressive and has ended 1-3-3, so not the most strong, not the strongest champion on this comp. But on the other side, Margarine has that Sundered Sky complete, has that first item in inventory, is a very strong champion on this Lee Sin. Grant?
Oh, jungle's not going to seize at all. Thandong going to be able to get away with the Rift Herald here. Only the 3 Grubs now. 3-1 on the top side. Bishop Mage has got absolutely nowhere to go. Herald's taken. Very importantly, 5 grubs was denied, not actually by the red side, but by the clock itself. Constellation prize of that Herald going the other way. Marco locked up quite a bit in this bot lane. Just with that last auto attack, Best is able to pick up the kill as well. And I'd say if there's one person suffering this game so far, it certainly is Marco. 1-6-1 on the Rumble support to start this game. Not off to a flying start of the series.
Absolutely, but I do feel like Rumble is one of those champions that isn't necessarily needed to be super fed or really in the game at all. As long as you use that equalizer in the fight, as long as it's good and hits a decent amount of members, it still has its uses. As a little bit of a game of chicken coming out here in the top lane. Dragon also going to be secured by EOD, their first one, a Mountain Dragon, as we are going to be getting a Chemtech Soul as well. But Thandong managed to grab that Herald, so true form complete for this Bel'Veth, and a lot of power going to be coming out from this pick once they get their first item, which is just probably a little bit of gold away, as Grant is going to be picked up by Coleslaw.
I don't know what Grant's plan was on that one. There was nowhere to go. Just took a tower shot, was like, you know what? Today's a good day to die. And then proceeded to die. Interesting strategy. Margarine jumps on in here with the equalize from Marco. Willgamer's got absolutely nowhere to go. Marco picks up the shutdown credit on that one. Help him get back into the game a little bit and make that equalizer a little bit more equalizing. Overall, the goals not equal, but you can fool me with how this match is going so far. 5K difference, but it really doesn't feel it at the moment.
I got really worried there as Thandong was driving the Herald into the wall, but manages to steer it clear, manages to take down that top lane turret, and now they're going to get another charge in, I think. But yeah, not going to stick around. They know that they know that all the eyes of this DTF squad have turned top lane. They don't want to risk it. Coleslaw.
Overextended here, tries to lock Paradise in, but you're locked in here with me, says Coleslaw. There's Marco going just absolutely obliterated. That is a 7-0-4 80 carry Anivia with Seraphines and 9 stacked Roa.
That is one powerful bird.
They are investing in the future. The future is now. Coleslaw may be taken down, but it has the passive form. But here comes Willgamer, not even taken down. Oh, was trying to go for the honorable 1v1. Willgamer says, not on my watch. As the rat tats onto the bot lane. Grant tries to go for the tower. Good with the riposte, takes 2 tower shots for his trouble. And yeah, there's just stuff happening still.
And this is exactly what we talked about with defend the Faith's comp, is the fact that, yeah, sure, you have a lot of damage, you have a lot of early game pressure with this Lee Sin and this Rumble being able to get some of these early trades, but you don't really have any way to clear these waves, especially against a champion like Anivia, whose specialty is literally destroying the waves before they can even collide. So while you do have a decent amount of power in this Lee Sin, a decent amount of dueling potential, as Marco potentially found.
Yeah, Willgamer just lets loose with the ultimate. It was never even a question of whether he was going to grab Marco. Willgamer maybe looking for more, has the board completed, plus Rudon's Hurricane. Tries to push a little more aggressively towards that bot side, but won't find Paydirt. But yeah, I mean, breaking this game, having this game versus Anivia, especially if you're just running around the side lanes trying to get the kill, you just see right there, Coleslaw, with the push, with the ability to absolutely massacre these lanes, just can't be matched macro-wise.
Absolutely not. This Anivia is going to be able to completely destroy these waves. It's only going to get worse, right? Anivia has 2 items as Paradise is found. And just destroyed.
He's dead.
Just like that.
Just go. Not even worth acknowledging. Just go next. Thandong looking for the level 1 run back versus Margarine. Margarine just whiffs the Q. But big equalizer in the pit. This doesn't do any damage. Bishop Mage now with Grant on the top side. Really going to be the only fight that continues. Bishop Mage left without allies. But so apparently is Grant. No one's coming up to help. Bishop Mage finds the kill on his own with the last 15 Knight. Yes, takes it on down. Now Coleslaw and Thandong trying to find their way out. Q lands.
Oh, they found him.
Coleslaw into the flash into the wall. W to put the wall down. Kitten Master's trying to range the fight. Sonic Wave taken. Sonic Wave kills. Grant finds the additional engage. This fight just keeps going. Now the Seraphine ultimate comes on away, but it's not going to be enough. Now Marco pushing in on Coleslaw. Knocks him down into the egg. Margarine
Will
comes around,
Gamer's
but now
here!
Will Gamer's here for round 3, baby! He's going in, doesn't find the damage. Margarine Q over the wall. Coleslaw is still alive, but so is Margarine. He's just got to land the Q, and he's got this. Does he have the W? Does he have a ward? It's just out of range, and his eye just run out of breath. Margarine, take the blast code. Do it. Find the wall. Find the Q. Gets locked up. Does Coleslaw find the kill? Has the passive? No, not going to be going on in. And Margarine. And once again, a fight happens for absolutely no reason, for no advantage, but it happened. And here we are.
And it comes out with Eaters of Dirt narrowly scraping by. Somehow, Coleslaw manages to get himself out of that sticky situation on the Anivia. But overall, DTF still very capable to fight. I mean, you have a lot of healing from this comp. You have Soraka, Lee Sin, Fiora. These are all champions that have a lot of self-sustain. So I'm really looking at this Eaters of Dirt comp to look for some of that healing cut option, for some of those healing cut options. As we sort of ding toward this third dragon here, items starting to open up for some of these carries.
Yeah, Marco potentially caught out of position here. Has the flash to get out of the bad spot, but now will they have the ability to re-engage? Rumble ultimate catches onto Seraphine, but it's going to be taken down. Then Dog alongside Cole are able to put the DPS down. Will Gamer still pushing that mid lane. Grant still in the top lane, and it looks like that's going to be Defenders of the Faith conceding control of this dragon. Happy to pick up something in the side lane, but Will Gamer is not content just yet. Is on the prowl for their next victim. May find Paradisus. Paradisus just absolutely gunned down in the streets. Margarine looking for the follow-up, or maybe just looking for a way on out of this one. Grant picking up that top lane tower. Bishop Mage up there in time to prevent the additional push, and then we may have round number 35 at this point, is my best guess.
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked a lot about, we talked about this in draft as well, right? But as this game sort of moves on to this late game stage, with how Eaters of Dirt have been playing, the big question that you and I have been asking is, you know, how do they close this one out? The Baron has officially spawned. We're a little bit past 20 minutes, so that is a possibility for Eaters of Dirt to go for. But it really seems like this Karma isn't able to deal with this Fiora, is able to beat it in the 1v1, but not the push. Speaking of 1v1.
Yeah, Bishop Mage has Ignite ticking. Grant is going to be making quick work, and this is what we expected. The Karma to win out early, but Fiora outscales in that push. Questions to the build as well. I don't think Malignance really is the choice here, but Coleslaw just might be. Grant stuck between a rock and a pop star idol place. Coleslaw trying to find the deeps here. Kidmaster may have enough to get there. Top laner out of this one. No! Will Gamer hits them with the expunge. We'll be able to find the kill. Grant now down 39. Bishop Mage up in 13. Baron on the board. Will Gamer looking for the flank. Has two squishy members. Doesn't really have the attack speed. Big Seraphine ultimate finds two, but finds Will Gamer back on the other side. Coleslaw now hitting freely on the backside. Ultimate hitting nobody. Marco just about ready to expire. Margarine trying to get out with the expiration date intact. Has to queue to the wave, so no way to go back in. In fact, may have just jumped back into the fight. Margarine,
What are you doing?
Oh, kicks him out. Oh, what is happening? Only thing I can say is blue side for Eaters of Dirt. Once again, we don't know why we're here. They win the game. Quacks, I do have to correct you on one thing. You said that the question was, how do they win this game? I have one better question for you, and that is why. Why is this happening? What is going on? Why are we here? Why are we made to suffer? That is the question of the night, and I guarantee you, there are no answers.
There are no answers indeed, as Eaters of Dirt, just as we said, they need to go for the bear, and they managed to win out on a fight, secure that objective for themselves. TP is here for Karma, so expect that that is going to go into the side lane, sort of break out into a 4-1 split push. But now, this is exactly when Bel'Veth loves to be online, right? Manages to get that sort of coral army for herself, which is going to help out in this pushing power from Eaters of Dirt. So I'm really curious to see how they sort of divvy up the manpower to try and maximize pressure on to defend the faith.
Marco's on rat duty, finds Will Gamer, but I don't think they wanted to. Bishop Mage maybe overextended in the top lane. That could be a big kill the other way. Margarine takes him out. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Marco for Bishop Mage. 4-4 still on the board. One of those Baron buffs knocked away. But yeah, I mean, there's no real semblance of strategy at this moment. Here's an interesting matchup I haven't thought about. Twitch versus Fiora late game. Bishop's doing all right. I don't know if Bishop, rather Grant's doing all right. I don't know if they're doing Rat all right.
I mean, I don't know if it's an interesting matchup for me. I've seen Ratatouille, and you know, when you have a French girl going against a rat, I feel like we all know where that ends up leading to. But luckily, the rat manages to get out of there in time. The services will not be called. The kitchen remains intact.
The engage comes around anyway. Grant on the wrong side of the wall, but going to be going for the engage anyway. Grant has to find his way out. Margarine finds the Q in onto Will. Will going to be taken down, but all the while, this is the mid lane push. Cole absolutely obliterates Paradise. Or Paradise's Margarine goes in, but really just throws his body onto the fire. Margarine not able to find anything. Now Thandong onto with the Baron buff, with the Voidlings. May just be looking to trade themselves for the inhibitor, a trade that they will successfully make. Can they absolutely find the exit out? No, they cannot. Grant and Kinmaster are going to be working to deny that one, but has the damage been done already? Marco is dodging. I don't know what he's dodging. There's nothing to dodge. He dies! It just goes down to nothing, and this could be the ending. The sweet release that we all have been waiting for. Is this the end of the game?
Eaters of Dirt, I mean, they're pushing down in this bot lane, but I don't think that they want to mess with the respawning members of Defend the Faith, so they're close. They really just need 1 or 2 team fights in order to close out this game number 1, but just not going to find it yet, as the next dragon spawns, providing yet another opportunity for Eaters of Dirt to accelerate this game further.
Why is Cole 12-0-10? Why is the 80 carry Anivia in an Anivia Seraphine versus Varus Rumble lane that good? Will Gamer now going in for the engage, will immediately be silenced on down. Don't know what he's looking for right there. Interesting split with the build. I just realized classic Bork first, but then itemized into crit, and now I swear, if that is an LDR, I have so many questions about who are you using the LDR on? Maybe I guess
there are no tanks.
But then once again, there are no answers to any of these questions. Marco throws in the equalizer the other way, but I don't think you can balance this equation. Gonna be unequal. Paradisus trying to just chip in from the side. No damage. Best going down, but Coleslaw is still ticking, is still kicking. This bird is trying to find something, but no, gets knocked down. Now Marco's pushing Bishop Mage out of the fight, pushing them straight to the grave. And Margarine gets a fat payday with a 1k shutdown on to Coleslaw, preventing the perfect bird from taking flight. We'll have to see whether this is the Phoenix coming from the ashes or potentially just the bird burning to the ground, but that's a swing.
Absolutely, a huge swing in the favor of Defend the Faith. And Margarine in particular has been really leading this charge. I mean, you look at the scorelines of his teammates, and not to flame anyone, but this really is one of those games where you have 3 losing lanes as the jungler. You kind of got to put the team on your back, and put the team on your back is exactly what Margarine is doing. 3 items complete, 4 items complete actually on this Lee Sin. So a lot of power and a lot of survivability coming from this pick, and I feel like it really is that survivability aspect that is giving Eaters of Dirt so much trouble. They have been unable to kill this Lee Sin for a lot of these fights with just how tanky he is, how much sustain he has. So they're going to have to find a way to take down this frontliner who's dealing so much damage. And I mean, we talked about it earlier, the LDR, the Last Whisper, has been acquired by Will Gamer, so there is certainly an avenue, but Will Gamer is getting picked in a lot of these fights.
Speaking of which, Will Gamer now going directly into Kidmaster, tries to burst down the... And the rat gets... Oh my god, the rat gets 2 kills as a response! I mean, Goldslaw's still up, but that's actually a fairly decent trade. Paradisus and Marco both off the board. Seraphine ultimate just catches Margarine. Where is Grant? Grant's nowhere to be seen. Coleslaw and company just ripped through the lines. That could be it. The only member left on the map is the Fiora, and Bishop Mage has got this one in the bag. Why did they build Malignance? Nobody knows, but they're going to win the game anyway. Is there justice in this world? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, but all I do know is that Eaters of Dirt on the blue side will walk away from game number 1 in this Group B first, second place tiebreaker match as the victors. They may be walking away at... Go ahead.
They managed to take game number 1. But I mean, this game was quite an interesting experience. I think you and I both experienced how interesting this game can be. And I mean, I wouldn't expect it to be any different in game number 2. I think we're still going to see just as many interesting drafts, just as many weird flex picks. The Rumble Jungle, that is going to probably look like a completely normal pick in comparison to what we're going to see in game number 2. I'm absolutely sure of it. I think the teams are just going to try and one-up themselves, both in draft, but also potentially in performance. I think that there was a lot of mechanical showings in this game. Obviously, you were able to cast a lot more, just being able to get a lot of these fights in. So yeah, much more fighting, many more weird picks. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of questions left to be seen. Will Eater's Dirt take this 2-0? Will Defend the Faith push this to game 3? Will Big Stevie's mental survive? And will Quacks crawl up into a ball in the corner and cry himself to sleep at the end of this? Only way to find out the answers to all these questions is to stick around here at the Risen Esports Draft League Tiebreakers. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Risen Esports Draft League Tiebreakers. I'm still Big Stevie. That's still Quacks. We are still in existential torment, and we're still here in the series where EOD lead us 1-0 over Defend the Faith. Could win this series altogether here with the next game. And immediately, there's no time for anything, Quacks. We got to go straight in the draft here.
Yep, but I would imagine that the draft is going to be more or less the same because we have the Fearless Draft enabled, or the Fearless Light, as we called it before
Half the
we went
calories.
on to Prize. Yeah, so basically, for those of you who don't know, or just need a little bit of a refresher, basically, any champion that is played by a certain team cannot be played by that team again. So, an example is that we won't be seeing Anivia on Eaters of Dirt anymore. And same thing goes for Defend the Faith if they want to go for Rumble. I don't know why they would want to go for Rumble after game one, but if they wanted to, they can't. So that is completely locked away. You won't see those banned. They are banned as the game starts. But mostly going to see the same exact bans. You can see EOD pivoting a little bit, going to be banning away that Karma. A lot of mid lane focused bans here, or at least we think so. As we learned last game, everything is not what it seems. In fact, nothing is what it seems. If you think that something is going in another if you think that something is going somewhere, it's going to go somewhere else. As EOD going to open us up with a Ashe pick.
Okay, I'm immediately suspicious of this Ashe. There's just no universe where this is an Ashe AD carry. It has to be Ashe support, it has to be Ashe soul lane, it could be Ashe jungle, but there's one thing I know in this world, and that is not an Ashe AD carry. But interesting way to open up the draft. Finally, they have a single piece of hard CC. It's like Forest, it's not point and click, but it's something. Maokai going the other way. This is getting disturbingly meta.
Yeah, this is a little bit more on the meta side, but I mean, Maokai is still a strong champion despite the nerfs. We are on 14.5, so Maokai not nearly as strong in that support role, especially with Celestial Slave being a little bit worse. Actually, a lot worse since the nerfs. But Maokai support, still possible to have that, but Maokai jungle, much more probable. Right as I say that, you can see the Graves has been locked in for Defend the Faith. Could still be a Graves in another lane. We'll have to wait and see. I would suspect maybe that's a Graves top lane or a Graves mid lane. He has the potential to go into positions like that. And it is actually pretty good for him. He doesn't lose a lot of those matchups. But it's really all just a waiting game to see what the rest of the comp is. And speaking of the rest of the comps, EOD going to continue with that long-range poke and to lock in that Lux.
Yeah, I mean, the Lux Ashe, in theory, would be a solid bottom lane. Could be a little dangerous, especially if this Maokai does go support, because that's what you want against as a support Maokai. You want something that when you go in and press W on something, it dies. Lux does that, Ashe does that. Vayne theoretically could do that. Once again, we don't know what's going on. In a normal human world, I'd say, oh, looks like a top lane Vayne. We don't know. Somebody's confident. And here's the interesting thing. With EOD now being 1-0 up in this series, they're probably going to be, F it, we ball. Like, that's probably the team talk that's going on behind the scenes right now. So we'll see. Do they ball?
I mean, I think both of the teams ball. I think, obviously they're both first. They are both going to get an advantage into the playoffs. So they're both looking to just have fun here and Defend the Faith. Going to continue with a little bit more frontline on this comp in game number 2 with the Malphite locked in. So a lot of short-ranged, sort of balling up is going to happen for Defend the Faith, I think. They're really going to look to play front to back. So that leaves the question of who they're going to put in that AD carry role. Obviously, Graves is a marksman. He can go bot lane if he wants. But you're definitely looking at someone to protect. You have a lot of protection. You have a lot of secret servicemen. But what's a secret serviceman without someone to protect? What's a bodyguard without a body to sort of look after? As I'm definitely looking at that to be Defend the Faith's sort of missing piece in this comp so far. As we move through the bans, DTF.
Really damage part.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, as you said, they're really missing the damage part of their draft. If they get that part sorted out, I think they're looking golden. But
absolutely.
Interesting how that's typically the harder part to find. Obviously, if we were normal human beings watching a normal game of League of Legends, Orianna is just absolutely screaming at me.
Yeah.
No, once again, that is if this was a normal game of League of Legends. Guys, has somebody killed DTF and replaced them with actual normal players? Is that what's happening here? I am absolutely devastated at the fact that this almost looks like a viable draft for DTFs.
I'm a little bit worried about this EOD squad against this DTF comp. I mean, Malphite, if he chooses to go full AP, it's just going to one-shot this entire comp, right? They're facing the exact same issue that they had last game, where not enough frontline has really made itself known in this comp. And as I say that, Udi are going to be the hover and the lock-in, so there's your frontline, followed by the Gragas. So my concerns immediately answered here by Eaters of Dirt. And yeah, I mean, this looks like it will probably be a Vayne top lane with an Udyr jungle and a Gragas mid. And a Gragas mid. Sorry, I had a voice crack there. But
Sure.
it's really, really up in the air.
That it is. And I think we've actually somehow been baited into a semi-meta draft for DTF. I stress the
Yeah,
word semi. Gwen to round it out, aggressive pick at the top lane makes a lot of sense. You already have the damage threats. I guess I'd be a little worried about Kai'Sa, Gwen, Graves really having the damage profile necessary, but not a lot of tanks to go up against, so I think that should be sufficient. And if I had to guess right now, DTF with a lineup of Gwen, Graves, Malphite, Kai'Sa, Maokai, I mean, yeah, it seems viable. I think they lose out in the laning phase a little bit against some of these lanes, especially like Ashe Lux. I don't know if the Maokai engage is going to really be enough with the Kai'Sa, but they actually have a viable, workable mid-game team composition, which is the first we've seen tonight. So,
yeah.
hallelujah.
And the drafts, as I'm looking at the players and what roles these champions are going into, is somewhat normal. The only thing I think I got wrong on Eaters of Dirt's comp is the fact that this is going to be a Gragas top and a Vayne mid lane going against the Malphite. So this is going to be an interesting mid lane. You don't often see this matchup. But my big question is, what kind of build is this Malphite looking to go? You could go tank. I mean, there is a lot of damage for you to tank up, but you're going against Vayne. You're going against Ashe, who's going to be building Kraken Slayer. There are a lot of things that can take you down, a lot of true damage on some of these members of Eaters of Dirt. And so I think that there is a possibility that this could just be a straight up full AP Malphite. And I honestly wouldn't be opposed to a pick like that, being able to one-shot this backline. It's hard for some of these other members of DTF to get onto this backline, so you kind of have to be that sort of secure champion, secure answer in order to sort of put these fights, swing these fights in your favor. And I think Eaters of Dirt, their big task is going to be getting push, making sure that this Udyr can farm up as safely as possible, get those grubs, get those objectives, and just scale into the late game where this Vayne, this Ashe, and this Lux can just wreak havoc from 50 miles away.
You see, the meta part of my brain is saying Malphite is probably the only true tank on this squad. Maokai's going to be working on a support budget. I don't know if that's going to be enough to really soak up the damage. And realistically, you're not looking for a front-to-back teamfight comp on this red side. You're looking for a dive, but you need somebody that's going to be able to withstand this assault for even a few seconds to buy time for your damage members to really do their job. So that's the part of the brain. That's my part of the brain that's like been working in this scene for 8-9 years. That the other part of my brain is thinking that Malphite with Malignance is really funny. That's the end of that thought process. And I have a sneaking suspicion that DTF may be thinking slightly more with the second one than the first. That being said, it's a really interesting comp. I mean, I think there's a lot of room for Blue Side to win some of these lanes early. I mean, Ashe Lux, if Maokai Kai'Sa ever fall behind in that and ever don't have the damage to just straight up 100-0 one of those members, that's not a playable lane. Vayne Malphite has the potential to absolutely snowball out of control. Udyr can be quite aggressive in the jungle, but the question is, can Blue Side build enough of a lead to overcome the actual viable teamfight composition that DTF intentionally or unintentionally have stumbled themselves into?
For sure. And I also think that another worry that EOD have to be aware of for DTF is the scaling of this Gwen. I think Gwen was actually a really solid pickup here from Defend the Faith. Gwen not only being able to scale up, be that magic damage threat that a lot of these Eaters of Dirt members can't really deal with, but also the fact that you dodge a lot of the damage from Eaters of Dirt outright with that hollowed mist. So you'll be plenty healthy after that initial barrage of damage, the initial barrage of spells going your way. Gwen is immune. We all know that from experience. If this Gwen can get an early lead, be allowed to snowball a little bit quicker than usual, then when this game breaks out into mid to late game, it's going to be quite a snip fest here for DTF, I would assume.
All right, so right before we throw this circus of human suffering to a quick break, quick updates around the league. This is, of course, tiebreaker night. Literally only 4 of the 4 of the 12 playoff spots currently are actually locked in. A bunch of the tiebreakers going around the league. A few updates from there. And Group A 6-seed playoff bracket, both L84 and Goons have advanced to the finals. They'll be playing a best-of-1 to see who gets that coveted 6th position in there. Once again, huge shout-out to L84. I carried them through Week 5. Hope they can win this one. Group B, a few other tiebreakers going on. Actually, in Group A, 7PL took Game 1 over Uwu. They have the advantage in that series. They're now moving on Uwu versus CDSF. Still waiting on results from Group B, 4th seed. We will keep you guys updated as the night goes on. Don't touch that browser. Stick right here. Glue your eyes open if you need to. You don't want to miss anything here in the Risen Esports Draft League tiebreaker night. We'll see you in a bit. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Risen Esports Draft League. Big Stevie and Quacks on the cast. Blue side, once again, Eaters of Dirt lead the series 1-0 over Defenders of the Faith in that all-important battle for the first seed that is being taken with the utmost serious right now in LCS levels of precision as we get the 5-man invasion. I believe this is completely unseen by Defend the Faith. Defend the Faith are tryharding right now. They've elected for the 5-point, which means they're not upholding the spirit of the screw it, let's all play 5 off-roll champions, but you can tell that they, at the very least, want to be pushing us to a game number 3 here, where maybe they will accidentally force a competitive game 3.
Yeah, you can definitely tell by Defend the Faith comp that they want to try a little bit harder. They don't want to lose to this tiebreaker. It's all fun and games until your back is against the wall, but both teams not going to get anything too spicy from one another. You can see trading wards on each other's blue buffs, so they will know where each jungler started. Margarine going to be spotted out there, but Vendong not actually going to be spotted on his Raptors, so this Udyr probably just going to look for a full clear. That's typically what you see this champion do, and I wouldn't expect anything different here. You can see he has the Conquer, which doesn't really tell us much. Udyr is a champion that can go into AD or AP, and honestly, I wouldn't be too opposed to an AD Udyr in this game, going things like a Titanic Hydra, potentially, I think could provide to be pretty useful, especially with the lack of frontline that Eaters of Dirt's comp has. But again, 5 autofills, 4 fun match, tiebreaker for first, doesn't really matter. Anything could happen.
Exactly. And of course, for you guys just joining us now, first of all, thank you. Second of all, why? Third of all, this is the match, of course, for the first seed out of Group B in our Risen Draft League. Coleslaw and Best absolutely lay the hurt down on Marco, who has, in fact, elected to take this slightly nerfed Maokai into the support position. Winner of this, both of these teams have already qualified not only for the postseason, but direct seeds into the playoff. The team that wins tonight here in this best 3 will be receiving the first seed, so they will play the winner of the second seed match instead of the first seed. Basically, whoever wins this doesn't have to play ADD in the second round, most likely, but besides that, a lot of things still up in the air in this playoff bracket. Theoretically, at the end of the night tonight, we will have an idea of what that playoff bracket looks like, but you might need to stay up a little bit late for that one. So,
yep, as you can see, Fendong just going to be spotted out there by Grant, who moved down had the priority, used it to get some vision onto the jungler after that ward expired. And interestingly enough, this Udyr is actually behind in the full clear timer compared to this Graves. Margarine on this pick, managing to clear his camps just a little bit faster, get on that crab a little bit quicker. So I wonder if we're going to have a crab fight. You can see Kitten Master, he maybe wants to go for a reset, but we could break out into a fight early on here.
Yeah, we could. Very surprising to see that we have gone this far into the game with no kills. As opposed to the absolute roller coaster we had last time. That being said, Margarine and Thandong run into each other in the jungle. Ships passing in the night. Thandong going to be going back in, but Margarine has a literal shotgun. But the Bear Man has bear skills. Will Gamer, though, maybe picking up the first kill here on the Kid Masters on the wrong side of the lane, in the wrong side of the 7 Hells. Already put down into Avernus. That's going to be Kid Master. Off to a rough start in the Vayne counterpick matchup.
Yeah, and Thandong actually managed to smite away that crab that Margarine had gotten an early lead on. So 28 CS, a full clear acquired here for the Udyr. A big smile on his face, most likely, as that is exactly what this champion wants, right? Scale up, power farm to 2 items, and then become an absolute Thanos god tier champion as the game goes on. Udyr hasn't really been seen in the jungle recently, especially in pro play. He's more akin to a top laner at the moment. But Udyr jungle still has, you know, that quintessential power if you want to play for the late game and you want an AP champion. He really fills that niche. As Thandong potentially in trouble.
Oh, engage. Marco
beautiful
misses W. Paradis over the wall. Coleslaw flashes over. First kill on the bottom side of the map, rather. Second kill of the game down to the bot side. Now Margarine and Marco having to work their way out of here. And the kills just keep on coming. Eaters of Dirt doing their best Game 1 replay impressions. Now here comes Kid Master, although without ultimate, Margarine just barely limping away here down this bottom lane. As 3 kills brings us to a just under 2K lead now for the blue side of Eaters of Dirt. If this scoreline were to keep up, they would win the series this game. But if there's one thing we learned last game, nothing matters and we're all going to die anyway. So who knows what's going to happen in a few minutes? The only way to find out is to stay tuned.
Absolutely. And I really like Thandong's performance on that bot lane play, if we can go back to that for a minute. But hang on, we can't grant. Going to take Bishop Mage really low. He uses that needlework, but won't be able to finish it off. Bishop Mage has to teleport, so just going to get himself plenty healthy in base. Or not, I guess.
Yeah, well, eventually he's going to have to, but either way, just look at that gap in the top lane. As much as this is obviously a very good early game from Eaters of Dirt on this blue side, speaking of which, Eaters of Dirt picking up early grubs. Looks like it's going to be uncontested. Margarine not quite in the right zip code just yet. Maybe Cha-Cha sliding his way down to it shortly. Or no, could be Cha-Cha sliding the way right down to Will Gamer. Kid Master, Cha-Cha real smooth right on to Will Gamer. Ultimate not going to have enough damage early on. No mana for Kid Master. Will Gamer able to ult and tumble on out of that one. Trying with the Malphite ultimate. Right idea. Wrong amount of damage to make it work.
Yep, and a little bit of dancing coming out there from Kitten Master, but Will Gamer, crucially, no flash on this Vayne, no ult on this Vayne, so I'm looking at Margarine to maybe try and re-gank, re-influence this mid lane, try to punish this Vayne even more for having those key summoners and abilities down. But
on the top lane, looking for the gank onto Grant, don't think it's going to pan out. But yeah, very fun fact for all our viewers, Malphite ultimate is in fact on a lower cooldown than Vayne Flash. You can stick that one right in one of your loading screens for ranked right there. But yeah, so there's going to be a clear window where Margarine could look to break open this mid lane. And they're going to need it. Oh, unless they're just going to get the kill. Will Gamer has decided they don't want to live anymore, I guess. But that's cool, you know?
Yep.
We were just, you know, we were having a good time here talking about how, you know, it could be reganked. But they were like, no, you know, I just want to die. And sometimes, you know, sometimes it happens, but you know we're just here trying to have a cool conversation about macro. But you know, that's cool. That's pretty cool. Don't you think that's pretty cool too, Quacks?
I think it's very cool.
It's very cool.
Margarine just going to keep the pressure up on this bot side. Will get spotted out by Thandong moving down. Wants to fight. I think Margarine might be in a little bit of trouble here. Will be spotted out. Coleslaw ghosting.
No ultimate just yet, but the slow passive should allow time for others to catch up. Now here comes Marco and here comes Paradisus, but just no damage really from these red side members. Ultimate finally from Coleslaw. Marco going to get absolutely obliterated with the Orbital Cannon. Paradisus going to be dropping as well, and it looks like an absolute rout from the Eaters of Dirt, who've just taken control of this bottom side of the map.
And 3 kills going their way means a dragon is also in their sights. So they're locking themselves down for potentially late game scaling here. I know it's only 1 dragon, but certainly an advantage you want if you are EOD. We talked a lot about the scaling of Defenders of Faith and then how they'll be able to scale up as Willgamer just zoning poor Kitten Master off the wave with ultimates.
I have questions.
Me too, but I don't think we have answers, Stevie.
That's a fantastic point. So interesting usage of the ultimate there from Will Gamer. Interesting for Kid Master to then elect to go back into auto attack range, but let's pivot our focus slightly. We've been so focused on the bottom side of this map, and I would say if there is any part of this map that is going to bail, and trust me, bailing out is exactly the right usage of the phrase there. This red side for Defend Faith, it's probably going to be that top jungle combination. Margarine, we'd expect to be the strong member. Kidmaster engaged. Will Gamer. Margarine throws the W, gets the auto, and the D2 jungler trying to justify their rank here on the team gets the kill. But huge lead in the top lane. I'd say a pretty decent start now in the jungle, about 400 gold advantage. It's going to have to be a top jungle diff, I think, here, if Defend the Faith want to find their way into this game. And then, obviously, it doesn't really matter where Malphite's at. He can just press R.
For sure. It is definitely a case of this top side of DTF having to be the ones to step up to the plate, really carry the game when it goes later. And, I mean, that's no problem for Gwen, right? Going to late game is exactly what this champion, what this pick wants. But I do worry a little bit about the sustainability for this Graves pick. Going this lethality build means that you will fall off around that 3-item mark. So how useful can this be as the game goes on? It only really has 1 kill, so it hasn't exactly snowballed to that point where it's completely unstoppable even 10 minutes from now. So I am looking at Defend the Faith to really juice up this pick more, continue getting it around the map. Speaking of getting around the map, that's exactly what Thandong is doing.
Yeah, Grant just going to be able to pop the ghost and get out of that one. Margarine just stayed right of this fight. They're going to re-engage. Watch the Gragas barrels for the big one. Margarine's in on the fight. Grant finding the damage. Grant not in tower range, though. Margarine joining as of late. Can they find the sustain? Ultimate out of Margarine, and there goes Thandong. But now here comes Will Gamer on the strategic Vayne roam up from the mid lane. Will Gamer pops the ultimate, takes a few seconds. Margarine dips into the vision. Kitten Master tries to buy time for their jungler. Knocks him away. Will Gamer misses the E, and now with no ultimate available, Kitten Master maybe looking to turn this one. Look at that ultimate timer. It's just a few seconds away. Could be looking for the double. They just low into a false sense of security. 1 more second. It's up in there. It goes on right to it. Will Gamer just gets taken down, and there is the double kill. Coming onto the top side.
Defend the Faith. They managed to pick up the 2 kills by the hairs of their chin. And now it is a 3-1 Graves. We were saying they needed to snowball this pick, and that is exactly what they did. Now Grub's available. I wonder if Margarine wants to go for these. They don't have eyes on Thandong. They don't have eyes on this Udyr, who has made his way into Margarine's blue side. But I think if they knew that, they would definitely index toward those Grubs. But sadly, those are going to go untaken.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Missed them out in game 1. In fact, the Grubs actually expired due to the Herald spawning. In fact, a minute 50 away. Could be a bit trickier this game, especially now with the advantage in the top side of the map that has been established for Defend the Faith here on the red side of the map. Slight roam down from Grant. Looking like this should be about a 3-3 split for the Grubs. Margarine in a great position to take this one over, and I don't think they really have the firepower here. Best 13 roaming into the mid lane, looking almost to bait Kid Master into an ultimate. However, very good strategic thinking. You can't be baited into using an ultimate when you don't have the ultimate.
Hey, that is true, as Margarine is going to take away these Grubs, really denying away the 6 Grub dream from Eaters of Dirt, just denying a lot of that gold that could be earned in the next minute or so as these plates about a minute away from despawning. But next up is going to be that dragon. You can see 40 seconds on the timer. And a lot of vision has been established by Defenders of Faith on this top side. So they're going to have to move that vision line, move around a lot of, where they can see around the map toward that bot side, so that there are no surprises from any TPs that Eaters of Dirt want to go for. As you can see, Bishop Mage has that TP, so could look for a TP flank, and it's up to DTF to really spot those out.
Ooh, watch here. Really interesting gank here on the mid lane. Kidmaster could be forced ult away. No, gets away in time. Now here comes a re-engage. Dandong should be able to make his way out of this one. Dragon up in 5 seconds. First dragon, of course, taken by the Eaters of Dirt on the blue side. Curious if Defend the Faith want to take this fight. Margarine is absolutely juiced out of his mind. Coleslaw, the last member to get out of the pit. Kidmaster does have the ultimate available. And I think that they're saying, yes, we feel strong enough. We want to take this dragon.
I mean, they want to take this dragon, but you have to pay respect to the Malphite, right? This ultimate can be so impactful in team fights. It really feels like with lack of vision, with lack of ways to go, with lack of just knowing where this Malphite is, really is no clear way to go for that objective. So instead, they're going to trade it. They're going to go up toward this top side, but they're actually going to be spotted out. It looks like Defenders of Faith want to pinch this play.
Yeah. I mean, this is the strongest part of the map. Two-man knockup from Kidmaster Grant. Snipping, XDing his way through the front line. Bishop Mage now under tower. Snip, bye-bye. With the Maokai ultimate too, will find Thing Dong. Do they go for the dive? Marco is already in. He was born in the tower dive. You merely adopted it. 2 kills on the top of the map, plus Dragon, plus the denial of Herald. Big swing. Tower goes down the other way.
Oh no.
Here comes
Margarine, no.
Wait, there's 4 people here! What are you doing, Will Gamer? Gonna fly in, takes down Marjoram, and now tries to fight Brand, but here comes the rest of the squad! Marco finding the W route. Flash away from Will Gamer. Will at least trade positively the 1 for nothing, but what are you gaining from this play? Though now looking at the map, kill there plus denial of the red side for Defender of the Faith may actually grant blue side here Eaters of Dirt Herald, which could be what they need to accelerate this early game.
Not only do they potentially get Herald, but they also get a massive shutdown onto Will Gamer, managing to take down Margarine, who has been snowballing in this game for the past few minutes onto this Graves, finally being able to put a stop to that train. But it's really going to be up to how they play the next couple of these fights. Bishop Gamer, Bishop Mage.
Margarine's back here on the top side. Will Gamer's able to pick up the kill. 5-3-1 now on the Vayne is a very, very scary set of digits to have on that Vayne. Lux ultimate plus the Ashe ultimate will mean the end of Kidmaster, who sent Meowing straight into hell.
Absolutely, but Paradisius on this bot lane has been pushing up all the while. This Kai'Sa, we haven't had a lot of opportunities to talk about this pick. It has been slowly just staying bot lane here, trying to accrue a gold lead after a rough early game. But I feel like this Kai'Sa, even if you juice it up, even if you make it, super duper fed, it's going to be really difficult for this champion to get in the game as you are playing with fire, Paradisius.
Yeah, Paradisius is dead. Paradisius is currently 2k down and lane into a Vayne. That's just never going to work. Bit of a blunder there from Defend the Faith. Maybe needing a few driving lessons there for the EDR, but eventually does find his way into the mid lane T2 tower. Able to take down the mid T2 tower as well.
Wow.
Push out here from Eaters of Dirt.
Yeah.
Able now to extend this gold lead to just under 4k, actually just about 4k. And yeah, I mean, there's some strong members here for Defend the Faith, but that 4k is a rough lead to really wave anything at.
Yeah, especially at only 17 minutes into the game here. It feels like Eaters of Dirt have firm control over the game. But I mean, there is still a couple of bright points in particular. Like we talked about, this Gwen being able to scale up now has that Riftmaker going to be building into that second item, which is typically when you see Gwens hit that big spike, hit that big stride for their pick, sort of leave the nest of top lane and break out, really cause some problems in team fights. Paradisius?
Ashe ultimate, Paradisius is dead.
He can play.
Margarine on the backside. Maokai ultimate should be enough to lock down Best. Margarine looking for the damage, cancels the auto attack, uses the ultimate, so able to get out of that one. But now that's really all of the tools that Red Side has
Oh,
here.
beautiful
Margarine
2-stun.
maybe going down as well. Oh, misses the flash over the wall. Margarine's going to go down as well. That is 3 dead members. 4-1 favoring Eaters of Dirt here. And I have to say, because we're in this mid game now with mid lane T2 tower gone, that is just going to absolutely open up the map, especially Dangdong to just go where he pleases now. That mid tier 2 tower is one of the most important structures in the game.
For sure.
Grant trying to use the top advantage. Mentioned that they need to really start influencing the map. Bishop Mage pops the ultimate, but here's Coleslaw, who really quietly has been having an absolutely phenomenal game. Coleslaw able to kite on back, goes the 1-for-1, takes up the another kill. Berendis absolutely gunned down by the Lux, just obliterated off the face of this earth.
I really want to credit Bandong's decision-making in these past couple of minutes. He had an excellent double stun on that mid lane. Instead of just going to try and secure the kill, he stayed up.
Has a metric year to react to that one, but it might not be enough. Man with gun beats woman with bow from the Frozen North every day of the week, but now here comes the Vayne Tumble. Marco will be its next victim, but will they have enough damage? Oh, Marco gets the shutdown. Kitmaster is left all alone. They are the rock, they are the hard place, and they are destined to be going down. Another death. 2, 3, and 5 will be the scoreline at the end of the day. And just to really put the cherry on top of that one, as all that's happening, Eaters of Dirt pick up another dragon.
Yup, Bandong just silently going toward that bot lane, securing second dragon for Eaters of Dirt. And now with a lot of these members down, it is going to have to be a TP expended to save this top lane tower. So that is a big cross-map summoner taken away by Defend the Faith, unless they just want to give this top lane tower up. It looks like they're only sending Marco to try and assist, but I think he's too late. These 3 grubs going to be putting in the work to take this objective down, and suddenly this vision line that was already in favor of Eaters of Dirt is just going to be pushed up more and more as they get more and more of the map to themselves.
Yeah, they have really opened up the jungle for Defend the Faith quite a bit here. It's going to be hard for Defend the Faith to really keep farming their own jungle in spite of this. I do think it's actually pretty important that the TPs were held from the members of Defend the Faith. Try to create a numbers advantage, because right now they're just losing the gold game. They are losing by 5k on some very important members. Sure, they theoretically could win a fight, but if they could leverage those TPs into some number advantages, they could find a way back into this. That is, of course, easier said than done, and I am looking at an absolute train wreck of a bot lane here about to collapse. Paradisus up against Will Gamer is the most deer caught in a headlights matchup I have seen in quite some time. Muramana
and Lost Chapter. That's it.
I don't think he wins that. Look, that was 2 auto attack, 3 auto attacks, 2 auto. Yeah.
DTF. They're going on the Baron, but they're going to be spotted out here. What are they doing?
Losing. They're losing here, Quacks. I'm glad you asked that question. It happens when one team decides to throw away a game like thusly. Now here comes the engage back the other way. Margarine and Mark are already so low.
Big cast.
Gragas cast, and a huge Lux ultimate just absolutely skyrockets the win chances for Eaters of Dirt. And that was, I can only describe it as a choice that was made.
Yeah, Defend the Faith with a really questionable macro call. You have no real way to burst down this Baron. You don't have champions that are really good at taking objectives like the Baron. I mean, you have the Gwen, you have the Kai'Sa, but the Kai'Sa wasn't even around for it. She was stuck in the bot lane trying to defend against the Vayne. So you really didn't have any way to burst this objective down, and EOD, they were all up. Like we said, they had a huge vision line, and they were able to just walk in, completely put Defend the Faith in like a deer in headlights. Like you literally just said, Steve, that is the entire team of Defend the Faith just then and there. And it seems like Eaters of Dirt, really the only thing they have left to do is destroy these last couple of towers and take the Nexus, because they are in a commanding lead of this game, around 8k. I would expect them with double teleports about to come up to just opt for a 1-3-1 here, really split the map open, use that vision line to its fullest advantage, and just continue thinning out Defend the Faith.
Ashe ultimate engaging on here onto Marco. Had already used W to dodge on away. Not the most effective Lux ultimate in the world, but a huge binding onto two members. Margarine. Kidmaster goes in, but there's just no follow-up. Coleslaw is literally healing from the Malphite engage. But out from the Snippy Snips, there's Grant. And just going to go full kill onto the back line. Finds the first kill, but out here, Willgamer's re-engaging with Bishop.
Willgamer's
up in the tank. Willgamer flexes into the Maokai! And it may not actually matter. Double kill now for him. Goes down Margarine, just trying to heal off the backline. Margarine not dead just yet. Now is dead, but here's Grant. And I think Defend the Faith might just win this because Grant is going to keep using their scissors and just cutting through this line. It's going to be close. Finds the first kill. No, not done nothing. Dang dog. Just able with Bishop Mage to find the kills. And like that, it's a 3 for 5. And some inhibitors are about to start falling.
Inhibitor might be a little bit risky. You can see Paradis has made his way back onto the Rift, but this is a 1-6 Kai'Sa, not super duper threatening, and there's a lot of sustain on these two champions, Udyr and Gragas, so I think they just get the inhibitor. Paradis doesn't want to walk up. There's a dragon spawning in a few seconds, so they want to keep their life. They want to be around for this inevitable next fight. And so it is going to result in Eaters of Dirt getting their first inhibitor, opening up this game in mid lane massively in their favor.
Yeah, no, this is the breaking point right here. 49.8 to 41.7k. There are no more second chances. If you lose one more fight here as Defend the Faith, there's not going to be a Faith left to defend. That's, you know, it's not going to stick around long enough if that is the defense you are putting up for it. They need to be really careful what fight they pick here. I mean, they need to realize this Dragon, it's not Soul. If they do not feel like they can win this fight, they do not even try to contest this because there is no reason to lose the game for a third Dragon. Let Gwen establish some pressure on that top side. Oh, Maokai, go away. Get back. Back up, Marco. Get away.
I mean, all the while, you can see Grant is split pushing in this top lane, trying to get some of these objective bounties, but, I mean, he will succeed at getting this first one, most likely, but there isn't a lot that you can do with this gold, right? That is not going to patch up the bleeding that you've been feeling for the past 15 minutes or so. So
it's gonna buy them a little bit more time. And at this point, you're not really looking to outplay your opponent. You're trying to give your opponent a chance to outplay themselves. That has got to be the mentality here for Defend the Faith. And by letting Gwen shove out a lane and then rotate around, you're giving potential opportunities for your opponents to miss the mag rear. But now, got to be careful on the bot side. Coleslaw still with that ultimate.
Ooh, TP.
Here comes Kidmaster. Gets hit with the Ashe ult. That's an important playmaking tool down. However, it's Ashe at level 26. At 26 minutes, rather. We're not playing Earth. That's not the longest cooldown in the world. Certainly, it's already a fourth backup. It's 52 seconds. Certainly longer than the Malphite TP. Desperation certainly setting in here. Marco has got to be careful. Dodges away from the binding. Won't be forced into the fight just yet, especially with Gwen basically in another zip code at the moment. Having a nice vacation in Zimbabwe at this point. As opposed to the rest of this team who's still fighting around the mid lane. No engage. And it looks like Defenders of the Faith will live to defend their faith another day. Yeah. It's not exactly the as far as defending faith, this is more of like the second and third crusade as opposed to like the first. It's not a good one. It's one of those mid-tier, really one of the C tier crusades, I'd have to say. It's not S tier.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been reading up on a lot of those sort of Game of Thrones books. I've been reading a few of those, and there was once a guy who rebelled against the throne 5 separate times. And the first one, it was like kind of successful, like he almost got it, but then the second, third, and fourth one were all like absolute trash, and he didn't have the support of like anybody else. And that is kind of what Defend the Faith are dealing with at this point.
You know, I think they may be a little toxic call them trash, but you know what? I'm behind you. Will Gamer looking for a just straight up stat check on the Grant, and turns out his numbers were not only bigger, but they were also funnier in the bot side. As that is typically how those fights go. Will Gamer able to take down the strongest member Or arguably the strongest member. I mean,
100% this one is the strongest member.
Margarine has a funny kill count, though. 6, 6, and 6 is objectively funnier than 3, 5, and 4, but now Kidmaster is going to be deployed to deal with the Vayne. I'm curious to the itemization a little bit. I mean, it's the best MR item in the game, I guess, Raccoon, but... Alright, so here's where stuff's really going to start popping off. Baron is up and available. This might finally be the objective that Defend the Faith feel like they need to go in and contest. They can't just let go for nothing, because Baron will probably be enough to end the game on its own. Kidmaster does not have TP. Will Gamer does, so they already have the numbers advantage. Grant does have TP and could be looking to match up in the spot side. Kidmaster looking for the re-engage, potentially no. Doesn't pull the trigger. Now we are looking at the Baron buff. Margarine not going to be able to get close enough to it in time. It's not going to be a smite fight. Grant's here on the fight. They're looking for the follow-up now. There's a Grant, Vayne trying to TP on in. Going on down. Grant now into the backline. Best is going to be taken down, but here comes Will the Gamer on the backline as well. Kitten does not have TP. Coleslaw is just free hitting on this backline. And just like that, Baron is taken. It is a desperation last chance. It was the last gasp of a dying Faith. But Defenders of the Faith, it seems they will not be successful here tonight. Eaters of Dirt, they're going to be feasting tonight. Maybe if they can take down the Rock first, they can add that as a little bit of a seasoning on their normal feast of dirt. But either way, there's going to be plenty to go on when they knock down the Nexus of Defend the Faith. Just need the next wave. Margarine's up in 5. Marco's up in 6. Will it be enough? Kidmaster could just try to delay here. Has the passive, has the Frozen Heart. Could just try to slow down the onslaught from the 80 carries. Here comes Marco. Grant's up in 6. Paradisus up in 4 as well. Re-engages on the cards. Tower's not putting down just yet. They're focusing on the members. There's the tower. Will Gamer knocked with Paradisus' W. 2 members on down. Will Gamer flashing on in.
Will Gamer
pushes away. Kaisa once more. Marco now able to lock down Bishop. That should be enough. Double kill going to be taken on down. Even though it looks like it was lining up to be the absolute death throw here from Defend the Faith, they somehow managed to hold on another day, but Dendong still has Baron best. Dendong actually the only member of this team still with Baron. Decides that they would like to take a 2v1. I'm not really sure why, but it ends up working. Best able to take down the Raids as well. Another kill here, Marco. Was hoping he'd be taken out by the blue buff, but ends up being taken down by Dendong. Still on quite a positive game himself as a 6, 2, and 13, and really just to rub a little bit more salt in the wounds here. That's going to be the Dragon Soul on top of Baron here, just to really make this game even more fun from the perspective of Defend the Faith.
Yeah, for sure. And now they're going to get themselves an Ocean Soul, and hopefully with all 5 members, they'll be able to end this one. I feel like the big reason that they weren't able to close that game out, they did not have Best 13 with them on the Lux, who, yes, it's only the support, but it is still a lot of damage. 5, 3, and 18, you know, has that Luden's Companion in inventory, along with that Shadow Flame, so able to burn down through some of these tankier frontliners like Kitten Master, who does have the Rookerin, but it still does help having that big, gigantic one-shot laser in your back pocket. It is one of those trap cards that I think EOD underestimated not having, and they paid the price for it, ultimately not being able to end the game then and there, but game still firmly within their control. They're still 10k gold up, and really, it's just one more fight, and this game is exactly where we expect it to be.
They're at least an item up in nearly every position. It is firmly in their favor right now. But here could be the last fight. It's not exactly the most eloquent macro to end the game. They're just walking down mid lane, but there are no more Nexus towers. They would be able to force the fight. Ultimate engage and Kitten Master. I don't think that's who you want to be going for. Will Gamer very smartly splitting off from the rest of the team. Now we'll be going in, looking for Paradisus. There's the Malphite knockup. There's just no damage. Already taken down.
Joel.
Yeah, Grant able to take down Will Gamer the first time. Can they find the second? Answer is no. They are not. Margarine, the last member standing, and be testament to this, ladies and gentlemen. It is a 2-0 win for Eaters of Dirt. It may not have been the most serious series in the world, but it will be one of the more convincing. 32 minutes on in, Eaters of Dirt claim the first seed out of Group B, 2-0 over Defend the Faith.
Absolutely. I think that this was a solid showing from Eaters of Dirt, even if it wasn't their members in their, most comfortable positions, everyone being auto-filled and all of that. But being able to 2-0 a team that you are literally tied with for first, even if you're auto-filled, even if this game is for fun, even if the series is for fun, I feel like that still speaks volumes, at least not only to Defend the Faith, but also the other teams in the draft league who will inevitably have to go against this team, right? It definitely gives them a little bit of a higher standing, I think, compared to some other teams who will be looking at this team to be kind of the one to avoid and pray that you don't get, kind of like T1 in the group stage, kind of like the Koreans in the group stage, where we're just praying to God as NA that we don't get them in our group. We just avoid the group of death all entirely and get the best possible scenario. And I feel like that is exactly what is going to happen with Eaters of Dirt. They are going to make any group of death or any matchup of death that, because they are that good. They showed it today. They showed it in this series. They've been showing it all draft league. So excited to see where they'll go in playoffs from here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, all season long, they have looked solid. And I think it's very important to look back on what have we learned from this game here today. And as much as they looked good, I think we can look back at that and say, what have we learned today? Not a goddamn thing. Besides that, though, it was somewhat entertaining, and we'll definitely check in and see what these guys are able to do during the playoff runs. They will be getting a bye through the play-ins. They will be showing up in the first round where they will play the winner of the A4 versus B5 seeds. We'll see that in a bit, but don't go anywhere just yet. We got one more section right here. Production does have a gun to both of our heads, and we will be, of course, therefore, interviewing Cole up in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere, or our lives may be in the balance. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with the conclusion of this series and a very, very special interview coming up in just a few short moments. Back, ladies and gentlemen, to the conclusion of the best stream of League of Legends you are ever going to see in your lives here at the Drizzen Draft League, the Group B. First place, second place tiebreakers. Of course, we do have the victorious Cole here with us, who had quite a series. Cole, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, hi. Happy to be here. It's fun to be interviewed on stream. It's kind of a thing I haven't done before, actually. So.
Well, fantastic. Well, just going to start you off with a softball question here from me. What happened in this series? You were there, so were Quacks and I, and so were our viewers. We started watching the stream. 2 games of League of Legends happened, and then the game ended. What really happened today in your eyes?
Yeah, so this started with the realization that we didn't really care about the first seed. So both teams agreed to do something silly, which was let the other team decide our roles.
Oh.
So we assigned them to their roles, and they assigned us to our roles. The idea is everyone's going to be off-role in like the strategically worst possible arrangement. So they were trying to hide Best 13th Sin in the support role and minimize his impact. And we were trying to get Marge uncomfortable in the jungle. So
awesome. Well, I guess the first question that I have for you is just more pertains to the playoffs. Obviously, you guys are the first seed. You're now 6-0, right? Which is congratulations on that, by the way. You guys are definitely one of the top teams in the draft league. Are there any teams that I guess you're not sort of afraid of? I would assume you're not. But are there any teams that you want to face going into the playoffs? Any teams you hope to get on your side as the playoffs continue and as they progress?
It's interesting. It's there's a lot of good teams in this season. I think Group A, or Team Edward as it is on the document, is they've got a few scarier teams. They had like 4 teams at the top that are all a little stronger, and they're all playing in a massive tiebreaker right now.
Mhm.
I think 7PL, ADD, and CDSF are all the scariest. And I'm hoping that we get to breeze past them. I'd like to play DTF again at some point, but with our main roles, I think that'd be a fun, more serious matchup. That would be probably a little closer than we saw today. I think our team is slightly better all off roll than theirs was, but there's no knowing what would happen if we were all in the same roles that we normally play. So
Yeah, fantastic. And certainly it's going to be a matchup we're looking forward to in playoffs. But um, with all that, what, if anything, do you think that you guys learned here tonight?
that's a good question.
That's a great question.
I think we learned that we need to tell Will to maybe not go into the back line as the AD carry every once in a while.
I don't think that's going to be physically possible, but go on.
The man really likes going in. It's kind of his specialty. So, and when he's playing AD carries mid lane, it's basically the same thing. So,
but I do want to confirm here with our sources and our reporting in the field. He is typically an AD carry player, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. That is great knowledge to have.
Yeah, but Will thirsts for blood, and sometimes you got to be like, down boy. You don't need that blood right this moment.
I didn't realize you were allowed to select the Dark Urge in League of Legends, but
that's actually really a great way of putting it. we got to watch out if there's any bards in games. Not going to be safe around Will.
Oh,
Absolutely.
never.
For sure. And I guess the last question that I'll sort of end you off here with is, like, obviously I am more unfamiliar with the draft league, but do you guys think that going into playoffs, obviously with the pro meta being a little bit more chiseled out as the weeks go by, as the season goes by, do you guys think that there are any sort of like pocket picks that you individually think are good against some of these meta picks? How do you guys essentially approach the draft throughout your games? Is it more meta oriented, or is it more comfort oriented, or is it a mix of both?
It's a mix of both, right? I think several of us have champions that we really like to play. And the meta doesn't make them any worse, regardless of what's going on. Like, I will continue to play Nunu, despite the fact that you will never see that champion in pro play in a million years. But also, there's stuff like Wukong Jungle, which I really like and haven't played much this season, but he's gotten buffs in 2 consecutive patches, may enter the meta, may pick up the champion again. I think Will has the weirdest champion pool. He will continue to have weird champions that he wants to play. Best is pretty comfort oriented. I think Bishop is probably more on board with the meta, as well as Tan. Those two are picking up new picks all the time. So, it's for some roles we're comfort, for some roles we're meta, for some it's a blend of both. But I don't read patch notes, so I just hope that someone informs me when it impacts a champion that I play, because reading is hard and I don't like it.
Quotes to live by. One more question, of course, from our secret shadow government that does, in fact, as you know, Cole, write the results of all our matches in advance. On behalf of them, who do you think you are? And
who do I think I am?
Yeah, who do you think you are?
I don't know. That's a abstract question.
Fantastic. And thank you very much, Cole, for your time. Best of luck going into these playoffs. Certainly, we're very much looking forward to DTF making a run here. You guys did earn the first spot, as Quax mentioned.
What the hell? We're EOD.
I'm gonna Quax, you finish this show. I'm done.
All right. I got it. All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for coming into the stream for the draft league, the tiebreaker that was prophesized to be quite a banger, but ended up being incredibly one-sided in Eaters of Dirt's favor. So thank you so much for the interview, Cole. Thank you so much for a banger series, one-sided as it may be. And thank you everyone so much for coming out, watching us cast this series. We'll see you guys all again next week. Have a great night.